know, they say we're so divided, Republican, Democrat, left, right. We're all in our echo chamber. But on this show, we're going to cross that bridge and talk about it.
Tomato.
Tomato.
Potato.
Potato.
Let's not call the whole thing off. Let's go discuss it.
Well, good afternoon and welcome again to the Marty and David Show. We tackle the big issues on this show. We've talked abortion. We've interviewed local candidates. And today, we want to talk about gun violence. And I'm here with my two brand new best friends in the whole wide world. I'm this far away from getting a t-shirt. I know our relationship hasn't projected or hasn't progressed to that point, but I will get triple XL, okay, because I'm a husky guy.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
man.
yeah, try big bones. But Winfield Craig and Albert Henry, thank you so
Pleased to
much
meet
for
you.
joining
Yes,
us.
thank you, sir.
And of course, we have David Stevenson,
Hey!
the co-founder, the real heart and soul behind this show as well.
Our hearts beat as one.
They really do. They really do. But we thank you so much for coming in. You've got this incredible rap group, and you have a message. The rap group is called Unique Messengers. And your hit song that's just going crazy on the internet and everywhere. I hear they're playing it in barbershops in Brooklyn. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I heard it in the barbershop I was in.
That's what I'm talking about. And not only that, but there's almost like the Holy Spirit has ordained this song, and it's already having an effect out there. It's infecting, and it's having an effect in culture. What happened in that barbershop?
Well, you know, the barber, I told him about the song, and he decided to put it on. And when he put the song on and he heard the song, Give Up That Gun, it blew his mind. And this guy almost forgot he was in the barbershop cutting people's hair. He was dancing and stuff like that and really I'm like, man, you know, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And he keeps saying how much he loved the song and stuff. And, you know, he really believed that people should really, you know, give up that gun. There's so much gun violence, you know, even that particular area, you know. So he was kind of concerned about it. And he was very happy to know that there was a song called Give Up That Gun out there.
Now, in this particular barbershop, and we won't name names here.
No.
We don't want to rat anyone out.
Please
but there
don't.
was actually someone who had come up from a state that had less stringent gun laws and wanting to distribute guns and wanting to work through the community at large. Is that what happened?
Yeah, from what I understand, basically this particular person came in that area and he went to the barber shop and he was asking that particular barber if he wanted to buy guns. And the barber told him, no, he's not into that. And he left and so forth. So when I went to get my hair cut, the barber explained to me what happened. So there was a gentleman there when I went, and he told me straight out, so the barber decided to put on the song, Give Up That Gun. And I was happy, you know, to enjoy myself taking my hair
You
cut.
can get it on YouTube, right? If you just put in Give Up That Gun, Google it. Just Google it. We can't do anything commercial here, but just Google Give Up That Gun.
Yeah, and there's a video that goes with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So in the barber shop, you know, when the barber puts it on, he goes to YouTube and the video comes up.
Okay.
So he did that and the song was playing. There was this gentleman sitting down there and that song started to play and the barber was really pumping up the song and the gentleman got up and he told the barber that he was leaving. So he left.
Okay.
So when he left, the barber said to me, you see this guy who left? I said, yes. He said, you know why he left? He can't take this song, man. I said, why? He said, a few days ago he bought a gun. He said somebody came from another state
Right.
and he bought a gun because somebody shot him a few months prior and he was in the hospital, so he came out.
Oh.
So he bought a gun. So he couldn't take that song, Give Up That Gun. It convicted him. And to me, you know, that was good news for me. The good news was that the song convicted him because that's what I want to happen with that song.
Make people think.
Yeah.
And make them give up that gun, just as I said.
Do we have that song ready to go? If we do, let's go to the videotape. This is going to be good.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
I can feel your pain. Oh Lord, have mercy. People, just listen up. A poor mother just lost a child on his way to school. He was shot in the head, man. That's so cruel. How many more children will have to lose their lives before your this senseless shooting must come to an end. It's destroying families and friends. Time to make a change. Let Jesus turn your life around. You'll value life again and say goodbye to that gun. So give up that gun. You'll hurt somebody. Give up that gun. That's not the way to go. Give up that gun. Give your life to Jesus. He'll turn you around. Please give up that gun. He'll turn you around. Give up that gun. So much shooting, many people dying. Hey, too much guns in the street. It's really overbearing. No, somebody got to do something. It's ridiculous. Yeah, we can't continue like this. It's too dangerous. Children shooting each other in school, playing tough. I say to members in Congress, it's time. Stop the massacre. Enough is enough. Please give up that gun. We are counting down. Hey, 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 hey. How could a child go to school with a gun in his hand, planning to kill his own classmates? I don't understand. God is urgently needed in our schools today. No more guns, Lord, touch these children's heart, I pray. Please give up that gun. You'll hurt somebody. Give up that gun. That's not the way to go. Give up that gun. Give your life to Jesus. He'll turn you around. Please give up that gun. He'll turn you around. Give up that gun. Give up that gun. You'll hurt somebody. Give up that gun. That's not the way to go. That's not the way. Give up that gun. Give your life to Jesus. He'll turn you around. Right now. Please give up that gun. He'll turn you around. Give up that gun. He'll turn you around. Around and around. Give it up. Turn you around. This is the shooting. That gun. Stop it. Turn you around. Give it up. Give it up. He'll turn you around. Just give it up. Give up that gun. Please give it up.
Oh! I'm feeling that.
Hallelujah.
That
Hey,
was very
yeah.
good. That
Give
was
up
very,
that
very
gun,
good.
man.
I like it.
Give up that gun, man. It's about time, man.
I'm telling you, I like
Yes.
it. Dave, you had some questions.
Yeah, we're talking about the notion of, we feel our spiritual side, our Christianity, and we rejoice in our house of worship, but we walk out of church on Sunday, and I think it behooves us. Jesus has given us the goal of taking what we believe and applying it in our everyday lives and how we make decisions of who our leaders are. Your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, the Bible, Jesus talked about that you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do men light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. You are the salt of the earth. But the salt can, if the salt is made tasteless, it's good for nothing. So salt has a preserving aspect in light. Light lights up the darkness. So I think us as Christians individually, we should have that effect in the world. And as a congregation, as a group, because Christianity is a team sport. You guys might be between teams right now, I don't know. But I think that's important. And I think what you're doing in the urban community, trying to address gun violence, in a way, you're living out the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Right,
You're being salt and light.
putting their belief into action.
Yeah.
Amen.
And
That's the truth.
could I just add this? I think this is very important. Pertaining to the song, I think it's important to find out how that song came about. And God speaks to me through dreams. And people don't understand that Jesus is very concerned about gun violence too. People don't understand how concerned he is. Let me tell you how concerned Jesus is. the Lord speaks to me through dream, and that song came to me in a dream. And the chorus came to me first, and the melody, and then, you know, the Lord sent down the lyrics after. He sent that song down. If somebody gave me that title and said, write a song and give up that gun, I wouldn't know where to start. But Jesus sent that song down to me.
Inspiration.
Because he is concerned about what's going on.
Now, you said you had an experience with a family where there was like potential for gun violence. Give me that whole story.
Okay, good. Some years ago, it had this gentleman who I knew personally. You know, he was a musician. And I felt a strong urge, you know, one evening, you know, to go to his house. He didn't know I was really coming. I was wondering if he was going to be home. And it so happened that when I reached his house, he was home. And, you know, I greeted him and he gave me, you know, he allowed me to sit down, and I sat in the living room. And I decided I proceeded on to talk to him. You know, we just started to discuss. And then I felt very strong in my spirit to pray for him and the family. So I prayed with him personally, individually, and then I prayed for the other members of the family individually. And the power of God came into that house, into that living room. Came in strong. And when it was all over, he spoke to me in confidence, and he said to me, you know what was my plan tonight? He said, I planned tonight to shoot my daughter. He said, I had a gun right on the chair with me. He was going to kill his daughter. Why? Because she violated his marital bed, and he was going to kill her. But because I came there, God sent me to that house, and I prayed with that family.
Yes,
and the power of God was so strong in that living room. It averted a tragedy.
That's a wonderful inspirational story for our audience.
And I thank God for that.
Thank you, Jesus.
The power of Jesus Christ and prayer, and how concerned he is about gun violence.
Yes.
He didn't just send a song down for me. He also averted a tragedy in the family.
Multiply that times 35,000 times a year, and there are
somebody.
no gun deaths in America.
Glory be to God.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
For you to have 35,000 followers that sense something and act on it, and the world is so much a better place.
Look at it. Look at it.
So much of
There
a
it
better
is.
The
place.
thing is too, because you've hit on something there too, and I think you'll appreciate this. With gun violence, when you have a deadly firearm that's readily available in a house, you can have what you might call a crime of passion, tension within the family. Every family has these kinds of tensions, but there isn't a deadly weapon readily at hand where you can act out on it and then have regrets, you know, for the rest of your life. That's a miracle that you were called into that situation.
That's what that's the love God has for us.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to pay attention and stay tuned to it, you know, because he's speaking every day.
Yeah.
He's
Absolutely.
speaking all the time, but we just don't listen.
Yeah.
Because the enemy has us on a track of doing our own things so much that we don't listen to why we are here on this earth in the first place.
Yeah.
You know,
and like Marty and I discussed with our opening of the show. Marty talks about we all have our echo chamber, our own TV show, our own blogs that we follow, and instead of getting involved in those things and listening to those, if we just look inward
hallelujah. Yes, Lord.
and listen into our hearts
Yes.
and listen into what we know, we all know what's right and what's wrong.
Uh-huh.
We all do. But sometimes we get angry and we forget. For a moment, like you said, all it takes is a moment with a deadly weapon, and one person could be dead, 20 people could be dead,
Yeah.
100 people could be dead. Just like that, with a deadly weapon in our hand.
Yeah. And a lot of the killings, the gun violence you see, especially in urban centers, like in Chicago. I'm originally from suburban Chicago.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just acting out anger and frustration and retribution, or anger at your own flesh and blood for perceived dishonor to the family. But when you do it with a gun, there's no way of pulling that bullet back.
Once the bullet's left the gun.
that gentleman
rechamber it,
that
right,
shared his story, I'm sure, God forbid, if he would have acted on what he was doing, he would
Exactly.
regret it for the rest of his life.
Oh, absolutely, you're quite correct. And let me tell you something. This song, you know, God sent this song for the purpose of waking people up who have those kind of bad intentions to kill somebody. Because, and this is what I want this song to do. Somebody, it could be a school child, it could be somebody else might have a plan in their mind. I'm going to shoot up a school.
I'm going to do a
Or,
drive-by.
yeah, or something.
Yeah.
We had that happen.
And then,
next door in
and then,
Midtown.
and then hear what happened. And then they hear this song come over the radio. Give up that gun, you're gonna hurt somebody. Give up that gun, that's not the way to go.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, Lord.
And they decide, you know what, man? I'm gonna give up the gun, man. And they drop on their knees and they say, God, forgive me for my bad intentions.
Yes, Lord.
And
Yes.
change my heart, I'm not gonna do this no more. Because of that song. That's the power of music. And that's the power of positive messages.
Yeah.
And that's the power. I'm believing God to transform this song
Bless
to
you for
people's heart
delivering the
and
song,
mind.
and bless them for absorbing it
Yes,
and
Lord.
hearing
Amen,
to
amen,
it.
amen.
It takes the messenger,
Both sides,
the
yes.
unique messenger, and,
Yes,
and the
yes.
unique listener.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, because also, you know, I just want to share this part of it. Remember, everything starts with the thought pattern.
With the what?
Thought pattern.
The thought pattern.
Oh, yeah, thought
Yeah, that
pattern, yes,
process
right.
starts first because it's two things come to mind. Thoughts are not, you don't make up a thought. Thoughts come to you.
Yeah.
It comes. So it's only two sources that thoughts could come from. It's either coming from the enemy or it's coming from God. And that's why you got to pay particular attention. That's why the word is there for us to be guided by the truth of the
Right.
circumstances. So when the negative thought comes, we know to rebuke it because
Yeah.
we know who it's coming from.
Yeah. Like
gotta-
the Bible
you gotta
says,
pay
take
so
every
much
thought
attention.
captive.
Yes.
Bring it under
by Christ.
captivity,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, don't be overwhelmed by
And
yeah.
listen, we don't need any more gun violence in this world.
No.
From 1990 to 2016, you know how much gun violence, death by gun violence took place in the world? I'm not talking about it from the army or the police. I'm talking about civilians. 6.5 million people has been killed through gun violence from 1990 to 2016.
Wow. Wow.
It's terrible.
What's the next song? What's the title of the next song?
The name of the next song is called We Won't Give Up.
We Won't Give Up. Let's hear it.
Thank you, Jesus.
My. Check this out. Travel along this narrow way. Situations face us day after day. Sometimes our backs are up against a wall, but the good Lord, He holds us. Let's fall because He loves us. We won't give up. We're gonna keep on fighting. We won't give up. We'll just hang in love, knowing we won't give up. We're gonna keep on fighting. So won't give up. Just hang in love. These are days we've got to hang in there.
Oh, yeah.
Every one of us has a cross to bear. We do. We've got to stand firm and be strong. Yes. God will see us through. He won't let us down. No way. We won't give up. We're gonna keep on fighting. We won't give up. We'll just hang in tough, knowing we won't give up. We're gonna keep on fighting. So don't give up. No, just hang in tough. Please won't you hang on?
You know, people really go through a lot of problems in life.
Just
It
like
reminds
Job.
me of Brother Job. The man went through so much in his lifetime. He lost his children, his cattle,
his servants.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Job trusted in God, and God saw him through. So to brothers and sisters, whatever you go through in life, do like Brother Job, trust in God, but don't you ever, ever give up.
If you ever think about giving up, remember one day God will help you make it to the top. He will. You must always have a determined mind.
Yes.
Be true in your heart. Lift me all the time. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up now. Don't you ever. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't you give up. Please don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up now. Don't you ever. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't you give up. Even through troubles and trials, we won't give up. Payment on the table, we'll just hang in there. No money in our pockets,
No money sometimes.
we won't give up. Rain and sorrow, we'll just hang in there. So don't give up, don't give up, don't give up now. Don't you ever, don't give up, don't give up, don't you give up. Please don't give up, don't give up, don't give up now. Don't you ever, don't give up, don't give up, don't you ever give up. No way.
Look at me back.
That was good. Now you talk about don't give up, don't give up, and you talk about passing. What do they call it? Reasonable gun laws, or what's the word you always use?
Legislation that does no harm to hunters
Yeah.
and no harm to law-abiding citizens that have guns other than guns that I would describe as weapons of mass destruction, where you can do like in Newtown.
Common sense. That's the one. Common sense gun law.
Yeah, common sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one you always phrase it.
Because it
Common
recognizes,
sense gun law.
because what that does is it protects the Second Amendment for law-abiding citizens, and only keeps guns away. And we need national legislation. Our legislation in Connecticut is fabulous. One thing they didn't get to this past legislative session were ghost guns, and you can enlighten the audience about what ghost guns are.
Is that like ghost sales, like you buy?
No, ghost guns are guns where they ship you the parts, and you put the gun together, and there's no record of that gun. There's no serial number. So it's a gun that no one knows that you have,
Okay.
and that way, you can kill someone, and there's no, you always go to the serial number. Every gun has a serial number, and they can get the ballistics from a gun and help trace it back. But if there's no serial number on a gun, you're out of luck. So they'll hopefully get to that next legislature. But Connecticut's laws that we passed so far have reduced gun violence in Connecticut dramatically. From 2013, the year after Newtown, after Sandy Hook, the law was passed, and the following year, gun violence was down over 50%. So it's had a very clear and profound effect on gun violence. And like you say, sometimes it's a kid going into the school intending to do harm, but sometimes it's just a father who's angry at a child, or it's a child that finds a gun out, and he sees guns all over the place on television and in video games, and he'll take that gun and he might shoot a friend of his, not even knowing that the gun's loaded. Now, the NRA has gun training and teaches people how to properly store guns away, which is a very good thing. But when they promote the ability to purchase these weapons of mass destruction without any records, they're wrong on that, and even NRA members are profoundly against their own organization on that point.
All right, so but there's a couple different dimensions here because we're talking about let's pass legislation, let's stop sales of guns, and probably solve. I mean, it's down 50%. Let's do it again next year. It'll be down 100%. There'll be no violence.
Well,
But there's something more.
No, the lowest
there's something more.
No, we know there'll
that's
always be
going on.
violence.
There's something more. I mean, because even in London, where they had the most profound gun laws,
And very
all of a
little
sudden
killing.
murder by knives is skyrocketing.
And when
they
you s-
actually talked about withholding knives from people.
Now, when you say skyrocketing, now what's how many knife deaths per capita in
I don't know. Do
in
you
England?
know? Do you
no,
know?
no, but it's I wouldn't say skyrocketing
Well,
is an
Google it.
appropriate.
Tell you what, all you people out there, take your phone
say
and
skyrocketing
Google
is appropriate or
legislation
accurate.
trying to be passed in London to limit the sales of knives because so many people are being murdered by knives. But there's another dimension. Not you can't go to the city of man to solve all these problems. Sometimes you got to go to the city of
Hello,
God.
somebody.
But there's something else. What? And we only got a minute and a half left. In the last minute and a half, what would you say is the ultimate answer to man's inhumanity to man, this problem of sin?
You know, I think that the biggest problem here is when people fail to accept the fact that God sent his only son Jesus to die for us. He is a remedy for our sins. Let me explain this to all the listeners who are listening in. When Jesus comes into your heart, he changes you completely. He makes you different. It happened to me.
Oh, yes, it did for me.
I'm a new person now. The problem man has is a heart problem. Because even though you pass all the laws, all the gun laws, if that man still has a heart problem, you're going to have a big problem still. When Jesus comes in and he changes the heart, he makes you new. And that's why, if you remember, when they came to crucify Jesus, and they took Jesus, Peter took out the sword he had, and he cut the guy's ears clean off.
Yeah.
You know what Jesus told him? Put that sword back in that sheath. Put it back in. He said, check this out. He didn't say check this out, but this is my terminology. But Jesus said it like this. He who live by the sword will
Die
die
by the sword.
by the
That's the truth.
sword.
Winfield, thank you
So
so
if you
much.
live by the gun, you'll die by,
By
the gun.
There it is.
Thank you so much, Albert.
pleasure.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you
Group
so
hug.
much for joining us on
I
the
think we're
Marty
good.
and
We're-
David Show. We're going to have these guys back because we need to continue the conversation. But we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.
Actually, tomorrow, Thursday at noon 30.
Exactly what he says because I say tomato,
Tomato,
potato.
potato.
But we're out of our echo chambers and we got brothers here that are laying it down.
Let's not call the whole thing off. Let's sit down and discuss it.